When you were a kid, you had dreams. Maybe you wanted to be a professional baseball player, a circus ringmaster, or you had plans to invent something awesome. As you get older, your interests and skills change, and you discover new career paths. Brea Olinda Unified, our business partners and alumni are here to support you every step of the way in your journey to career satisfaction. Together, we present The Day in the Life of, a series where we bring you working professionals in our community from fields and careers you're familiar with, and some that may be totally new to you. Check out this episode of A Day in the Life of.
Hi everyone, I'm Danielle Robinson and I'm a physical therapist, and I'm gonna take some time today to share what that means, what I do, and how I got to where I am today to become a physical therapist. So a little bit about me. I grew up in my whole childhood playing different sports. When I got to high school, I was in cross country and track, and that was what exposed me to physical therapy first. I had multiple injuries throughout high school and went to physical therapy in high school. For me, that wasn't when it clicked for me that I wanted to become a physical therapist. For many of my classmates, that was the case. They had some major injury like ACL tear that required a really big surgery and a lot of rehab with their physical therapist after, and that left a huge impact on their lives, and they started their path to become a physical therapist. For me, it was more so wanting to learn about the human body. I just always loved exercising. I love sports. So to find out that I could study more about that and that could be my career, that sounded really enticing to me. So it was more chasing the education side of it for me. And then as well needing, having that desire to help people, which I think is a common thread with everybody who goes into the field, is they want to help people and it's really rewarding. So that was definitely a motivating factor. So the education part was big for me. So to start with education on how you kind of get there, you need a bachelor's degree in, it could be a bachelor's of science, a bachelor's of arts. Your major doesn't necessarily matter. You do need to have prerequisites for graduate school in physical therapy. So I got my bachelor's of science in kinesiology, which is the study of human movement, and it was an emphasis in exercise physiology. So kind of learning how exercise affects your body in many, many different ways. So that was my undergraduate degree, which is a great major if you know you want to become a physical therapist. That is kind of a guiding major to entering grad school for physical therapy. However, you could have any kind of major. I had classmates who were business majors or liberal arts or a wide variety. You just have to have prerequisites to get into grad school, which are usually very science-based. So you'll have your anatomy, physiology, chemistry, physics. Those are the main groups. So a lot of science-based classes that you need to take in your undergraduate degree in college to then apply for physical therapy school. So physical therapy school itself is a doctorate program. It's a clinical doctorate, so it's 3 years after your bachelor's degree. It's a 3-year program, and you end up with your doctorate in physical therapy. So during that time, you spend 3 years it's a full-time program. It's pretty vigorous coursework, so none of my classmates worked during the time. You're there full-time in class, and then at night you're studying. On the weekends you're studying and practicing with your classmates. You're taking classes like physiology and anatomy again, but much more in depth than what you did in college in your undergraduate degree. You're doing a lot of typical classes like you're used to, where you're listening to a student or a teacher at the front of the classroom, but you're also practicing a lot of manual skills. So that's a big part of our career, of our profession, is that we use our hands. We're doing manual therapy, or we're learning to transfer patients. It's a very physical job, so you're practicing those things on your classmates as well during PT school. So about, I don't know what percentage of it, maybe half and half, you're in the classroom versus in a large clinical room where you're actually using your hands and practicing your skills on each other, which is really fun. It's pretty cool to go through grad school that way, definitely. It teaches you to be a general physical therapist, and I'll get into what that means, but there's different fields of physical therapy. And then also you will have clinical experiences during your graduate program as well, where you actually go out and work with real patients. You're working under a licensed physical therapist, but you're practicing on real patients, what you're learning in school. So that way, when you graduate, you take a test for the state and for the nation, and then you're ready to go and start practicing on your own. So the different types of physical therapy, I think most people know about orthopedics or sports therapy. In high school, that was all I knew about. But I think it's really cool to know the other fields and that we have so many options as physical therapy. And that was what got me most excited to become a physical therapist. So there's pediatrics, working with children for different reasons, geriatrics, working with older adults, neurology, so maybe working with somebody post-stroke or post-brain injury, like teaching them how to walk again, teaching them the real basics. Oncology, which is what I do, which is cancer, working with cancer patients. Cardiopulmonology, so maybe somebody that has a lung condition like COPD or had a heart attack, and you're helping them get back into exercise and helping them to condition again. Those are some of the main ones. There's some other small details, but you could work in an outpatient clinic, you might work in a nursing home, you might work in like a rehab or a long-term facility where people stay for longer periods of time. You could work for schools, or you could work for sports teams. You could be the next Lakers PT. So what we do in general as physical therapists is we improve the way you move. So we are movement specialists. We're focused on why people aren't moving the way they want to move. Is it because of pain? Is it because of weakness? Is it, there's a number of reasons. So we do physical assessments involving our hands, involving special tests. We ask questions that give us some hints to what might be going on. So we do a full evaluation, and then from there we develop a treatment plan on how we're going to get this patient better. Are we going to use our hands and do manual therapy, work on the muscles, work on the joints? Are we going to provide exercises for stretching, strengthening, motor control? A lot of details. So then we're continually adapting our plan from there so that we're improving, so that they're actually going to get better and reach their goals by the end. My job specifically is in oncology, like I mentioned. So I work at a hospital. I work at City of Hope. And we work with all patients that are undergoing cancer treatment or who have previously undergone cancer treatment. And we're pretty much trying to maintain their mobility to keep them moving the way they want to move while they're getting either chemo, radiation, after surgery, maybe a clinical trial. So it's a pretty specialized field. I work in the hospital, so we work closely with nurses, with doctors, with occupational therapists, with speech therapists. And we have a team of physical therapists that work together, and dispersed throughout the hospital, and we go to the patient's rooms and actually treat them there and make sure that they're getting out of bed and they're able to move around. A team of PTs work together, and then my manager is also a physical therapist, but she kind of helps to guide us all together, make sure all the patients' needs are being met, everyone's doing what they need to do. And then above her is a director of rehab who manages physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy. And then all together, we are the rehab team for the hospital. So we are known as the team that helps patients recover. So that's who we work for and who we work with. People you might have working for you is a physical therapy assistant. So it's a different program, different education. They have their associate's degree. It's a 2-year program usually. And they're able to carry out the treatment plans that we design as physical therapists, but they aren't doing assessments. So they aren't doing the deciding factors on their own. They're following our plan for the patient. And then also a PT aide might work for you. And they don't have any specific education training. They're just trained on the job, and you're completely directing what they do. They're there to help you, pretty much. So my favorite parts of the job is it's really rewarding. You are helping people all day, and you really develop a connection with patients, and you get a lot of praise, you get a lot of thanks, and that's really rewarding. You're working with people all day, you're not sitting at a desk, and you're really sharing a lot of knowledge. A lot of people don't have quite an awareness of their body or how to get better, and you're sharing what you know to help them. So it's a lot of educating, and that's really fun. It can also be exhausting talking to people all day. I'm an introvert, so I can come home at the end of the day sometimes and just need to sit on the couch and not do anything, and that's fine. It can be pretty physically demanding too. I oftentimes am helping patients get out of bed who are 2 or 3 times my size, and we learn how to do that with our body mechanics, and you feel very comfortable doing it, but it is physically demanding for sure. And then in my setting specifically, I work in an oncology hospital with cancer patients, so I do see deaths in my patients, which can of course be hard, and it's tough to not take those stories home with you or really let it affect your personal life. So that can be a challenge for sure. Room for growth, you can always open your own practice. A lot of my classmates have done that or are wanting to do that in the future. You can become a PT manager, you can become a director of rehab at a hospital. You can get more word of mouth referrals as you gain experience and start working with different patients in the field as well. So for you guys, at this stage, I would just recommend that you could look into volunteering or even becoming a PT aide at a local clinic near you, which oftentimes PT aide positions are paid positions, but if not, you could find a volunteer spot, and you will need those hours when you're applying to graduate school for physical therapy eventually. So it wouldn't hurt to gain experience now and see if it's something you really want to do or not. And then when you're getting ready to think about college, just consider your major, consider looking into something that might guide you into physical therapy, or at least that's going to allow you to have those prerequisites that you need for physical therapy school. Otherwise, I'm happy to answer any questions by email. I know this was a lot in a short amount of time, but it's a big field and there's a lot to share. I'll forward my email along, but there's also a website for apta.org. It's short for American Physical Therapy Association. And on there's a section for prospective students that really has probably a better job of summarizing our career on there, and a lot of good information if you're starting to think about it and really want to get serious. But for now, in junior high or high school, just start thinking about it, throw the idea out there. You don't have to get too serious about it, but start doing some observation if you really want to get ahead of the game. And then when it comes time to college, start thinking about looking at those science classes that you'll need to have. But I really recommend it. It's a great career. My husband and I are both physical therapists, and we got great job security, and it's a highly rewarding career. So I hope that this was informative and helpful for you guys. And yeah, let me know if you have questions. All right, take care.